All right, y'all. Welcome back to the TheSnDPodcast. Got episode 4 coming at y'all. Listen, before we get started, just want to say thank y'all for the support you're showing on the last ones. We're going to start pumping out some more content for y'all, a little bit more short form, some clips. So go ahead, if you haven't, subscribe. Like, right now, please hit it.
Hit the button, man. You know
Press
you want
it.
to.
Thank you. Let's get to, where we at, 17? Let's get to 20. Just get us to 20. We'll be thankful with that.
20 is a good number. I like 20. I'm fucking with 20.
Yeah, we'll start. We'll just get that'll be our first goal. We'll be grateful with that. But I'm gonna go ahead and get straight to the shits. Frosty versus Nadeshot, man.
Yeah. A little late on this, but
A little late. I feel like it's already beating the dead horse at this point, but I feel like there's a lot of good conversation that can come from it. And to give anybody backstory, if you don't know somehow, it's all good. Just living under the rock. Patrick and shit. Twitter. Yeah, that shit's tough. But for those who don't know, Frosty versus essentially 100 Thieves. And Frosty, his little entitled... No, let me stop.
That's crazy. You can't even start out. Now you're biased. You're showing your bias.
Now I'm biased. Hey, never. I'm just kidding. I'm not. But anyway.
It's not a joke, but it is.
He was pretty much saying that he had no support. Him and the mob had no support from 100 Thieves from the second he got there. Being underpaid, had like a living situation to which the salary that they were making wasn't sustainable. Mm-hmm. And he expected more from Nadeshot and 100 Thieves, but that platform, I guess it didn't work, whatever. I feel like that part is all on him and subjective, but from the outsider's view, it was more so him saying, you gave us a platform and kind of just left us to the wolves.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, the mob was they're like a Twitter. They're popular on Twitter. They're a Twitter group, but they didn't have like a big following in terms of like Twitch or YouTube or anything where they could really make money from. Mm-hmm. But like you said, they were given that opportunity of getting that 100T like seal of approval, which we've seen with even people like I forget what his name, but he was just like a social media manager for 100T, and now he's doing like content with like the players and stuff. That black guy with the I forgot.
The black guy?
He is a black guy. Not JHB. JHB was an intern and he like blew up. But there's like a black guy who's like on the 100 team like Esports. And
is it Avalanche? It's not him.
I don't think it's not Avalanche. I can't think of his name.
Whoever he is.
Yeah.
If y'all know him, leave a comment looking at us.
But no, he was literally just like social media manager. Mm-hmm. And then I think he was getting I think he got caught on stage a few times and like he's funny or whatever. Some funny interactions with the players. And now like low key he could be his own content creator type shit.
Right.
Like he's got that kind of pull, I feel like it. So like with shit like that, like you gotta take advantage of the opportunity. The org is never going to they're not gonna spoon feed you everything.
Yeah.
Like if you don't want to be popular or if you don't want to put in that effort, they're not gonna force you to. They're only gonna force you to really do their deliverables.
Exactly. No, I agree. And it's more so like you said, the platform, right? Like as a business model, you're never going to overextend your business to somebody that you're paying.
Right.
Like, if you have that platform like 100 Thieves, like, anybody that comes in needs to learn how to utilize that platform to better themselves. Because at the end of the day, business is every man for themselves. Yeah. No matter how much you think this is, like, friendly or family, like, all that, at the end of the day, you have bottom lines, you have metrics, and if you can't use that platform to grow yourself, then just going to be left out to dry. And I feel like that's where they suffered because, like you said, they were on Twitter a lot, had a massive Twitter following, and after getting that stamp of approval from 100 Thieves, you would think that it should only be up from there. I mean, you grind on social media, take that same kind of creative passion or whatever and do content or something.
And I mean, I can definitely understand from their point of view where it's like, he was even saying like they don't make money on like the money making platforms or they don't have a big following on those, and I can definitely see how it could be difficult to translate your Twitter following to like stream views and stuff like that. Just starting out, but like with that 100T seal approval, people know 100T is gonna be streaming. I'm sure they had a certain amount of access to like the content house or something like that. Or I'm sure even what they were paid $60K a year.
60K.
Yeah, they were paid $60K a year, and then they
in
decided,
LA though.
In LA,
that was the only thing where I was like, but even then, it's like y'all are so young.
Yeah, you're being paid $60K in LA, and I mean, if you look at like the photos on Twitter and stuff like that, you can see the room was just full of fucking like Uber Eats and shit.
Just wasting the money.
Yeah, you're wasting money. You're living in you're living in like a $10,000 like a month, I think, house or something like that.
Yeah.
So their rent was crazy between all of them.
Disgusting.
And I'm like, there were definitely cheaper options, but I feel like the glamour of it got to that. I feel like they were like, oh, we're part of like we made it type shit. But part of making it, I feel like, is taking advantage of the opportunity. Just because you like since you got a bigger spotlight and got all these eyes on you all of a sudden, now you have to like do something with that. You can't just be like, oh, I had it.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, I had it. And even like, Nadeshot was talking about this. You're coming from Nadeshot, who went with Optic, left Optic to start something bigger, or left Optic because he didn't want to be there or whatever. I forget the exact situation was, but he left Optic, and then goes on to start something bigger. And he was even talking about, for a while, he thought that like he fit, like leaving Optic was the biggest mistake of his life. He
really jumped out on the limb. Yeah. It was like, I want to do something that's mine, that I have full creative and business control of, and passion will put you in those situations to where you have kind of like that fork in the road decision. It's like he made that jump and he realized it was going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of probably restless nights on his end, and just realizing like that feeling like this might not work, but there's no other option at this point. Yeah. And, passion is one word to use it, but it's more so like just determination and the will to see different goals. You don't see them as peaks, you see them as like the bottom, like the beginning. Yeah. You don't see it as the end. And I feel like the Mob and Frosty in particular, because he's the one that was speaking out. So anything that we're speaking to is his words. Not
I would say Frosty, because I know, I forget his name, but there was one kid that people, I think was Classic. Yeah, he was grinding. So he was
he's a grinder. I got respect for him.
And it's like when you're associated with, it's kind of shit, he kind of got a shit in the stick, because like he's associated with the Mob and 100T. Mm-hmm. So it's like he can't, I can definitely see how it would be harder for him to pull out and do his own like solo shit without the rest of the Mob, even if he is grinding. Like that's what he's known for, those two things, and if he's not really interacting with those two things a lot, it's kind of like, well, fuck. Like,
mm-hmm. But no, the biggest thing for me and the biggest issue that I had with Frosty was you had such an amazing opportunity. Tier 1 Esports league or organization with 100 Thieves, like, and you literally have something to bring to the table. You're not just, being signed on some strictly off of faith. Like, you had the social media presence. You guys obviously had personality to bring. And so 100 Thieves saw that as a decent business decision to bring them on. And I guess they just didn't, instead of seeing that as like, all right, now this is the beginning, they saw it as we made it. Yeah, this is it now.
We did it. We did the thing.
And it's like, no, like at the very least, y'all are at the bottom now.
Right. Now you can start for real.
Yeah, now y'all walk through the door.
Put the foot on the gas, right.
Like they got to a point where so many people would love to get, and instead of, finally getting in the car and putting the foot on the gas, they got out the car. Yeah. It's like, damn. That's crazy.
And even like when I remember Nadeshot when he did the stream, he was addressing it, and he pulled up his hours. I'm like, he streamed like 40 hours a month, man.
People work 40 hours a week.
First of all, people work 40 hours a week. And I know people with full-time jobs who stream more than 40 hours a month. So, like, what's your excuse, man? Like, it literally does not make any sense to me. And he's like, oh, that extra $2,000 or whatever a month wouldn't really mean shit. And I'm like, well, if you can't say, oh, that extra $2,000 wouldn't mean shit, but then complain on Twitter that we're going without meals. Yeah. But also be ordering out Uber Eats all the time. Like, something's not making sense, bro.
It's so dumb. And regardless on them having like the 10K house and all that stuff, like, I know 100 Thieves has resources to where if they wanted to record content, they would have a place to record content. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't necessarily need a content house. I feel like those are overrated nowadays anyway. Like, you're not going to get that original content house feel like the Optic days, the old Phase days. Like, that's pretty much gone. So if they knew that they were tight on cash, like, y'all stay at home. Get your own place, a own smaller place. Maybe y'all just convene together when y'all want to record or whatever the fuck.
I don't think any of them lived that in life, so I don't think staying at home was an option. But I definitely think they could have like found some apartments or something like that, and they definitely didn't have to. And he was saying, I was watching this video, and he was saying that like, oh, like you couldn't find like anything on Zillow that was less than like $10,000 a month or whatever. And then he's like, he was literally on stream about to pull it up, and I think he looked at it and saw that you could find plenty of options, and then he just didn't pull it. He was like, never mind, why would I? And it's like that clip you made showed it perfectly, like. Show proof, like what proof, man? Why would I don't even understand that, bro. Like, we're supposed to just take you off of faith that This is what it is. Also against someone who's established and like people know Nadeshot is a grinder. Like they know where he's come from, the work he's put in, and how hard he's tried to do.
His track record's proven for sure.
Speaks for itself. And I think the only person he really had like a falling out with was like Nick Merckx or something.
Yeah, and I actually wanted. If y'all know anything about that whole 100 Thieves Nick Merckx situation, leave it in the comments. I don't know too much about it, but even when Nadeshot was speaking about it, you can tell that it was still really touchy.
Yeah,
and he didn't like go in depth because maybe there was still like things that are unresolved on both of their behalves, but I don't know much about it.
I mean, from what I understand, Nick Merckx talked about it. I didn't really watch it because I personally don't follow any Nick Merckx content, so it just didn't really interest me. But I don't think Nadeshot has done like an official statement on it. I think the only reason he did an official statement on this is because it was less him being called into question and more the company and people, and he didn't want to create an environment around people who think they're being like if you know your workplace is mistreating people, you're not gonna want to fucking work there. And he didn't want that to stand. And he didn't want randoms on people attacking his employees on Twitter and shit like that. So like it makes sense to get out in front of it, especially even if you don't want to talk about it. Because I mean, he doesn't really get in drama and shit like that. He kind of
he just grinds, like you said. And for Frosty to kind of try to put that stigma on 100 Thieves, that just pissed me off. It made me happy that the reception around it was against him, because the last thing that you want to see is like you don't have to grind to make it to achieve your dreams, and that's kind of like the image that he was portraying. Like he was expecting things from the company, to which I can't speak on. Maybe there was certain things that the company did was shady. I don't know nothing about that. I mean, as far as the foundation between the mob and 100 Thieves, like you guys have the platform now. Go make that shit work, bro.
Yeah, do with it what you will.
Like, because we didn't have to give you this. Like, we didn't have to co-sign nothing. And I know for sure their social numbers jumped after that signing and that co-sign. So
definitely.
You can't say that, it was all one-sided. Like, no. It was one-sided because y'all weren't holding up your end of the bargain.
You weren't doing shit for real. I don't know, man. It just doesn't... And I mean, I guess it speaks broader to... Because they're younger than us, I think? Or
they're definitely younger, but they're still like
a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Not. But honestly, we say this all the fucking time, but just work ethic, man.
They don't have it.
Some people just don't have it. I don't know what it is with people a little bit younger than us, or like what
social media. That's what it is.
I mean, yeah, I guess people.
You see a few retweets and a little verified badge, and it's like you're hot shit. It's like you still gotta work, bro. Like you have to work.
Yeah. And I mean, like, social media is cool and shit, right? But like, you still haven't really accomplished anything. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, I feel like social media is meant to augment life, and I feel like a lot of people, younger people these days, I fucking hate the way that sounds, but I feel like a lot of this old ass nigga, bro. But I feel like a lot of people, like, not even just younger people, don't think about it, but a lot of people expect it to replace their life, or like because online their persona feels better than it does like on their day-to-day life. But
they think they're in the metaverse.
Yeah, but I feel like if anything, if you feel like if you prefer like your Twitter or online persona, your social media presence more than like in real life, I feel like that speaks to you should probably be focusing more on your day-to-day life.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Enjoyable.
You're weird.
I mean, you are a little bit weird, but that's...
I mean, yeah. Me as somebody who's trying to get into this YouTube content stuff, like, y'all didn't hear that. Who's trying to get into YouTube and content and stuff, I can only imagine having... Because they looked up to Nadeshot. They looked up to 100 Thieves. Like, I know that once they signed those contracts, they were ecstatic, right? I can only imagine what that feeling would be like for me. If one of my favorite YouTubers, Billy Easy, I'll say his name just in case, you never know. If he hit me up like, we should do a video, it's like, oh, shoot. Now I'm about to go a million times harder now because I finally got the eyes.
Right.
Like, I could grind for 1,000 hours with no eyes, but the second I get eyes, that 1,000 jumps to like 10. It's 10,000
I mean, it's honestly, like, you see all these, like, not the one-hit wonders, like, but the overnight blow-ups and shit like that. But a lot of situations like that end up being that, like, people are grinding and working, and they develop that work ethic, and they develop that talent, and then they have that one moment where someone comes in and puts that eyes on them. And that's what 100 Thieves and Nadeshot was trying to do, and they fucking flopped, man. They didn't have the work ethic behind it. They just didn't really do shit with it. And I mean, I don't understand where he gets off being like, oh, Nadeshot, Nadeshot on 100 Thieves took advantage of me. If I felt like that, I'd be like, damn, I let this nigga down, bro. Like,
right,
he took a chance on me and shit, and I didn't do nothing with it, bro.
Talking about this your idol and stuff, like, well, shoot, you should be wanting to help your idol. You should be wanting to add something, not expecting something on your plate. Like, no, let me cook.
Right,
I'll cook, bro.
Literally, and I feel like how can you be a fan of Nadeshot and like 100 Thieves and not like admire their work ethic and everything that they do, and like how wholeheartedly they go into fucking everything. Like whenever they do, they try to do it fucking like you see this thing. He's in literally like every piece of. You see him getting pissed off at like COD and Valorant games, and then also in the fucking content shoots doing like hitting golf balls in the simulator. Also in the fucking clothing brand shit. Like he's all over the fucking place.
He's probably in every single business meeting, either remote or in person. But he's probably in every business meeting. Like he has his hands everywhere because he gives a fuck.
Yeah, you can tell. And I mean, I feel like that's why the 100 Thieves is fucking running it up right now. Like,
run it up. That's what they're saying. And, they started as a quote-unquote hoodie org. That was kind of like a degrading name to them at first. But, even Nadeshot spoke about it. Like, that was like a main source of revenue at first. That kind of got the company off the ground. Just having, like, fire merch and, just good fashion. And to kind of build everything else around.
Yeah, I don't understand the stigma around being a hoodie org.
It's so stupid, bro. It's like we making money doing this, and right? Y'all can't do that.
So let's talk about it. Okay. A lot of orgs are just losing, just bleeding,
trash.
So like, how you going? So you mad?
I got Oshkosh Bagash clothing, bro.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
A lot of this shit is just like y'all just threw the logo on that shit and fucking sent it, bro. Ain't nobody trying to get that. So you mad that like people give a fuck and are actually making money from it, and they could do more with it,
like, or just slap a name brand on their clothes and think that they're designers. Like, well, no, just because you got a Nike sign next to your logo don't mean that y'all are doing anything, bro.
Right. Like, I mean, and even if you look at I feel like the big orgs like fucking 100 Thieves, fucking FaZe Clan and shit like that. All of them have like fucking dope ass merch, man. Like it makes you be even prouder to like associate with them because like you can rock some of their shit and it can just be like a cool piece.
Just dope.
Yeah, it can just be a cool piece, but also people who know fucking know. Like that's my favorite shit. Like when you could have like where you can, almost like you're secretly a part of the fandom or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, bro, I'm not in middle school no more. The fucking giant ass shirts with just Yu-Gi-Oh on it, don't really hit the same, bro.
No, it's not the same no more.
It's not. So I much rather have something like it's like. I can slip into my wardrobe like casually, can be like an everyday piece. I can just throw it on and shit. But like also like if you know and are associated with the thing, like you recognize them. That's dope. I feel like.
Yeah. So I mean, we can wrap this part up just saying like shout out 100 Thieves. I love what they're doing. As far as like we have esports experience. You know what I mean? If y'all know, you know, and I'm pretty sure some of y'all know. But I always looked up to 100 Thieves because I just like. I seen it from the beginning when, like, the 100 Thieves Twitter page was literally one photo of Nadeshot on the railroad track with, like, the 100 Thieves hoodie, and that's it. And there was, like, nothing else. When people was just like, what? Where's the org? Like, all y'all doing is selling hoodies, and now they're just, like, the biggest thing ever, and you don't get there by just people handing out stuff to you. Like, you gotta fucking put your head down and go for what you want. And on the mob sense, like, if you didn't feel that coming, like, leave. Like, you don't have to stay.
Yeah.
You want to stay because 100 Thieves is what they are. But if you're not going to bring nothing to the table, like, nothing's saying, like, you have to stay around. You can try to go create your own shit.
And I mean, all of this, you could have just been quiet, bro.
That's the biggest thing. You could have just shut the fuck up.
You could have just been quiet like the rest of them. Like,
because I feel bad for him, and we'll wrap this up, but I feel bad for him throwing the other people in the mob under the bus because now it's kind of
statements and shit.
Like, yeah, it's like they were probably like, damn, like I ain't even maybe some of this true, some of this not, but I didn't even want to say nothing about it.
Right, like I was just trying to go back home, bro, and like
chill. Trying to burn no bridges. Frosty burnt every bridge in Esports.
Nobody's fucking with Frosty.
Nah.
And then you know what's the craziest part? Actually, this is the last thing we're gonna say about it. But the craziest part is that like he got all this and he had all these eyes and shit, and he did his one stream where like he just bullshitted and basically made a fucking fool of himself. And it's like, yeah, no more fucking internet. And I'm like, at least stream to the fucking 100 T haters, bro, on Twitter who are gonna fuck with you regardless because you don't fuck with them, and try and make something out of the situation.
I thought that's what he was gonna do.
It shows that you just still don't have the work ethic. Like, the problem is the same.
He didn't even take the clout chasing route. That would have been easiest thing for him.
I would have been like, damn, that's kind of corny, but like, I mean, he making money, so what am I to say? Like,
play the game, I guess,
bro.
Yeah, the game is the game, but he didn't even fucking turn the console on, bro. This nigga just expects somebody to beat the game for him. Like, bro, you gotta play, bro.
What? Nigga went below story mode difficulty, bro.
For real.
Playing a fucking auto battler.
But anyway, that kind of brings me into like the fact that we worked in esports, and just that feeling of not necessarily grind culture, but this is an industry to where if you don't put your head down and grind, and I'm not in this industry no more, but I do know if you don't put your head down and grind, like, you're not going to see much progress. And even if you do put your head down and grind, it's not going to be like a easy ascension. So I don't really.
It's very unforgiving, and also like you gotta, like you said, you gotta grind. Like even when you get the opportunity, you have to do something with the opportunity. Even if you get on a team, you have to do something with that, because a lot of you see it with some like the league players and shit like that, the older ones. Like a lot of them, like if they didn't do content, they just fucking disappear. And like once you can no longer play, like you have to have something to fall back on.
Mm-hmm, something.
Like whether it's your, hopefully it'll be like your personal brand or something that you can keep, or switch to coaching or something. But like at the end of the day, at some point you will have to swap. You will not be able to be in esports anymore unless you're like on an org or something.
Right.
But as a player, and even that, you have to start making those transitions. If it's from player to coach to owner to whatever, like GM, whatever. But you have to have something to fall back on, and you have to grind. You have to work it. Like you see all the time, these people pop up or whatever. They're lit for a year or whatever. So, and then they start performing poorly. Now they're not on a team, and you never fucking hear them again.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I had my fallback with software development, but the biggest thing is like, it's something that I'll never understand, because if you don't have a fallback and you don't want to put forth effort in doing what you're doing now, how can you blame anything?
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, you didn't even set yourself up for
succeed
anything.
In any way.
Like, you're just set up for failure, and you're gonna be mad for life. It's like, no, like, you have to at least put some ducks in a row to goddamn help you in some sense. But
you have to try. At the end of the day, we keep going back to it. You have to give a fuck about something, literally anything, to be successful. You have to, like, even if it's just I give a fuck that I have a check that comes regularly. You have to care about something, man. Because if you don't, like, it shows, and at some point the opportunities will stop coming.
Yeah,
like,
definitely will.
You're not just always gonna have handouts. And I mean, once you really just got to take advantage of those opportunities. I feel like you have to, and know when to pivot. Because also, I feel like people, and this happens both in esports and gaming in general, but when people are passionate about things, and sometimes they realize that working their dream job, quote unquote, is more involved than they anticipated,
or just isn't what they seem, or isn't what it seems.
And there's parts about it that they don't fucking like, so now they're turned off on it as a whole, instead of being like, well, at least I get to do this part that I do fuck with. I mean, like, bro, you just gotta work, man.
Just gotta work.
You gotta put the pedal to the metal. You gotta keep grinding, keep progressing, just improve yourself. I mean, you can't stay stagnant in life. I feel like you gotta always be evolving. Like, even if you should always have something you're working towards. I feel like my brother has a tattoo, actually, to be idle is to be dead, and I feel like that's like a great motto, bro. Like,
that's fire.
Yeah,
that's fire.
It's a fire tattoo. But like, yeah, you gotta always have that forward momentum in something. And I mean, like, if you're watching this and you feel like there's nothing that you have that forward momentum in right now, I challenge you to, like, look for something, bro.
Whether it's find anything.
Right. Whether it's even like fucking, I want to reach. No, right. That's great. Whether it's even like I want to reach like the next rank of fucking Valorant or some shit, but like at least something that you're working towards. Maybe it's not going to be the thing that's going to make you money, but I feel like once you get that forward momentum going in something, it's easier to like transition that to other shit.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Because like right now, I started with the forward momentum with this and like working on this and getting that, and honestly getting into this and doing more like outside of work things, because I was letting that consume me, working on video game and stuff outside of that forward momentum. I was able to transfer that into like now I'm working on myself like personally and shit, eating healthier, working out. I got a personal trainer and shit. So when you see me be huge in like 6 months, mind your business,
bro. I'm telling you,
mind your business. But yeah, I just feel like you gotta have something you're striving towards, man. Because if not, what's the fucking point to just coast?
It seems like a boring life.
Literally, like I feel like people who that's another thing that like I'm glad that like my parents instilled in me at a young age to like work and like. It's okay to have nice things, but even if you have like one of the nice things that you have, you'll have to work for them, and two, like you just nothing's gonna be handed to you in life.
Especially in the black household, I feel like that's one of the biggest lessons that you learn growing up. Is like the last thing this world's gonna do is give you a handout, even if it seems like you're getting a handout. It's not. It's not. It's just like an intro phase to whatever that path is, but. You know, you can't drive on that path unless you put the foot to the pedal. And some people just don't know how to do that. And to them, this podcast isn't for you. It's that simple. You can go ahead and click that X and get up out of here. Because the real ones watching, y'all know we grind. We're really about our work. And if you're not, you can find something that you're passionate about. I mean, if you're passionate about nothing, then the world is your oyster. Because you can just
start trying shit, yeah.
And then at that point, you can't fail. There's no such thing as failure.
There's got to be something you fuck with. And I mean, like, if you don't fuck with it, then why do you care if you... Yeah. Like, why do you care if you don't do as well as someone else is doing or whatever the fuck? It's like, you want to try it? It's not for me? Fuck it. On to the next shit.
It's just weak.
You never fucking know what you could find. You could be the next fucking who knows what. Next fucking Elon Musk or some shit, man.
That's why I love watching, I like watching celebrity, like, interviews for celebrities that I more or less look up to, or like I respect their hustle and shit like that. I like watching where they started from and kind of what motivates them. Particularly Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P., God rest his soul. He was like a big rapper, but his biggest thing, he was a businessman. He was like the epitome of a good businessman. He had his hand in he owned his masters, owned all his music, owned shops and his merch, all that shit. He just knew how to play the game because he was passionate about it. He was making music because that was his love. That's his passion, right? But he opened up other doors for him to explore. Well, maybe I can, put my hand in this business and, do merch here. And my wife, she acts, and maybe I can get into acting a little bit and all this different type of stuff where it's just like, you explore one thing that you enjoy and that can open up a whole bunch of other doors to things that you can just try. Okay, this don't work out. Let me go here. Oh, I like this. This working out. Let me put some more chips over here. And I mean, I feel like that's what life's about. Like,
yeah, and I mean, I feel that's another thing too. It's like people you look up to, like, try to learn more about them. Like, try to pinpoint like why it is you look up to them and what about them that you find valuable, and then
not just because you like their music. And shit. It's so much. Like, it should be deeper than that.
Look into that, and if you don't have any role models, like, I'd find some, man. Because I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how you cannot have no.
That's crazy.
Like, you must be that nigga, bro. You either gotta be that nigga, or you gotta be like way down here. If there is literally nobody you look up to.
Who's your role model? I don't have one. It's like, let me watch out for you, bro.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know about that one, bro.
Nah.
No, like that is one of my favorite things too. Like rapper interviews, especially like rappers that I fuck. Like, I mean, you can tell the difference between rappers who like kind of just got lucky type shit. I hesitate to say got lucky, but.
I know what you mean.
The rappers who care about their craft and don't. And like I was listening to like a JID interview. And he was saying it was funny too, because he was saying that he was like going to school for football. He was doing that shit. He was like, that was his life path. He was trying to go to the NFL. The fucking Earth thing was talking about bro, why you still playing football? Are you gonna grow or something?
That's real talk.
I mean, that's real talk. You're good at his rap and shit. You might as well do that. I'm just like, damn, bro, that's tough, but like
it's tough, but it's real.
Yeah, and I mean at the same time, like he's not like super old, but he's one of the older people. He's older.
He's 30 now, right? Or like
I think
31.
I think he's like early 30s, somewhere around there. But yeah, him too is someone who's like, and him and all of the fucking Spillage, the Earth Gang, and fucking Black and Mariba, and then all of Dreamville and shit with like Boss and Ari Lennox, like all of them, just their work ethic is crazy. I mean, J. Cole, of course, their work ethic is fucking insane, bro. And like that's something that I really admire there. Because I mean, it's one thing to just be on like the conscious rap tip or whatever. Like, feel how you may about that, about the label conscious rap, but to like actually care about your craft and actually put that work in and grind, it shows when you like again when you do have that spotlight. And
yeah,
I feel like they're a great example of that.
No, I agree.
And I think he was talking about too actually that like that's another thing I like about Atlanta. A lot of like Atlanta rappers like know each other.
They all fuck with each other. Yeah, for sure.
They all kind of grew up and like were living around each other and type shit like, and so you get cool shit like you get a JID song with like a 21 Savage feature or some shit like it's people who you might not necessarily like. If I told you like 5 years ago that JID was gonna have 21 on a song, you'd be like, bro, what the fuck are you talking
That's
about?
how I felt with, and Cole is technically still from the South, North Carolina, but him having Nudie on that Dreamville project, I was like, what the fuck? You know songs from? Because, you know, J. Cole has a lot of artists from the South, and Nudie's from the South, I mean, East Atlanta, so it's just like, everything just makes sense, and, you know, for Nudie, that was probably like an opportunity for him, like, seeing J. Cole, you know, top 3 rapper that's out, you know, you have him, Drake, and Kendrick, so him getting that look, he probably saw that as, you know, another opportunity to grow instead of hitting the peak. It's like, oh, okay, now I can, you know, grow my name on actually knowing how to rap, because people were probably giving him the label of not mumble rapper, but just like a normal Atlanta trap rapper that raps about whatever the fuck. But it's like, no, like, I can rap with your favorite artist. Like,
yeah, and I love that people like Young Nudie, like 21 Savage, people who show that like they were rapping in the beginning. The raps that they were doing in the beginning is like, one, it was kind of like was popular, and two, it's like that's where they came from. That's what they used to. They're just talking about their life type shit. But like, don't get it twisted. I can't really do this rap shit. Like,
I can't do this. Like,
nigga, I rap.
Cole called me for a reason, bro.
Right? Like, this was not a mistake, bro.
Exactly.
Like the fucking what's that song? Cash In, Cash Out with 21 Savage, Pharrell, and fucking Tyler, bro. That shit is crazy, nigga. Like, fucking insane, man. But I just love that when rappers that like you wouldn't normally expect to get to show that like, nah, nigga, I do this. Like, yeah, I do the party shit sometimes, but like also, I got it.
I'm really him.
Yeah,
I'm really him. And I mean, that just brings me to my next point. I mean, the title of this podcast is Entitlement, and that's because like, you know, even with the Joe Budden podcast, right? Like, if y'all don't know much about that podcast, that's fine. That's neither here nor there. But the biggest part of their breakup, I feel, was entitlement between, you know, the co-host that was on there versus Joe Budden, who, you know, that's his IP, it's his network, that's his show. And for sure, the other 2 previous co-hosts, I'm saying like they gonna watch this. Rory and Maul, the other 2 co-hosts, wanted equity in the company, and they didn't necessarily agree with the business decisions that Joe was making. And there was words that was thrown around that was seen as disrespectful, like, you know, them asking Joe about the business decisions and him saying this is none of your business. Where it's like, well, we grew this podcast to be where it was because of us 3. But Joe is saying like, I understand, but this is mine.
Yeah.
I will pay y'all generously. Like, I got y'all, but this is my product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Joe gave them, this is a fact, Joe gave them full creative control as far as their likeness goes. Like, they can go off and do, you know, any other shows, any other or not podcasts, but like they wanted to do a piece of content that they wanted to own, they could. But as far as what related to his podcast, like, that's his shit, right? And I feel like the entitlement portion comes up when you're blessed with an opportunity, but rather than being grateful, you see it as like, I just want to take. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like what I got from them.
I don't know. I think they was wrong on both sides of that situation. I think Joe, in general, like, I get it's Joe's podcast and then he built it up and all of that, but at the same time, like, these are your co-hosts and they are also part of the brand. And I get that. Hey, like, yeah, I started this from the ground up. I ownership, but I don't know. I'm the type of person who, like, if I start something and breaks people on, like, sure, I'm not gonna give them like controlling stake, but like if there's been a significant impact from when you were brought on and like this shit goes up, like, yeah, like equity kind of just makes sense at a point. I feel like personally, And I'm like I feel like they brought a lot. Because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of stopped watching the podcast after they left. Because I just don't feel like it has that same energy.
A lot of people do. I still watch it personally,
but I also understand. Yeah, like I understand from his point of view, where it's like, well, this is my shit. Like, I think that it's none of your business. None of your business is kind of crazy. That's like man to man, like that's some shit like you trying to fucking fight. Like,
but you know, that's probably just like in the heat of a moment. And I would think,
yeah, and I mean, knowing Joe also when he gets heated, like just seeing on the podcast and shit, like I can see why he just some shit just came off, but like, and it didn't
like if you had a not a strict father, but a father that gave shit to you straight, like he probably said some shit where you're like, damn, like shit kind of hurt, but that, you know
even
it.
That's different though, because this is my father coming from another man is very different. Like
one of my homies said some crazy shit to me. And I know them to be the type of person to say crazy shit, I would be like, okay, I don't fuck with that. But I would also be like, that's not out of character of you. Let me address you and see, like, when the emotions have subsided, now let me see how you really feel. Because Joe even went back and be like, I shouldn't have said that. Like, it was the heat of the moment, male ego. We arguing about business and all that shit I'm arguing about business with my friends. Like, what the fuck are we doing type shit. Like, so and Joe says off the wall shit all the time. So, given that, especially Maul knew him for, I think they said like over 15 years or some crazy shit, it's like, why were you surprised that he said that in the heat of the argument?
Yeah,
which is fucked. I mean, I'm not giving him.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like at a certain point, like, I don't know. I've been known to say wild shit on occasion. But I feel like
you pulled up in chat room talking around like shit.
Chill. Get to it. But I feel like even with that, like, you have to learn how to have a debate and like not be emotional, and especially with shit like that. Like, I feel like it's emotional, but like you still gotta always watch your tongue. Like, I'm never gonna come out my mouth like crazy at one of my friends. Like, even if I'm pissed off, like about to punch the wall type shit, I've never said no wild, like crazy disrespectful shit. Just because I feel like you gotta have that like temperament. Because man to man, like, I just feel like at a certain point, most niggas know that like you have up until here, past here, we fighting. Like, regardless of who's in the right, who's in the wrong, how we feel, like hands, nigga.
Yeah, and that's how Maul felt for sure.
That's what I'm saying. So like, regardless of how long I known this nigga, like I'm used to him he says crazy shit all the time. Like, bro, you not finna just come at me sideways like that. Like, what the fuck, nigga? Like, yes, this is your shit. Like, yes, this is your shit. I respect that you started it, all of it. You brought me on. I assisted. But like, at the end of the day, it's your shit. But like, bro, it's none of my business. Like, what the fuck is you talking about right now, nigga? Like, the hell? Like,
I don't know, man. I feel like there was a lot of decisions that, and a lot of other pieces besides just the recording of that podcast that Joe had to worry about. And at the end of the day, like, he's taking care of not only them, but like his whole staff. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, and he had a great quote, in my opinion. He was like, yeah, he was giving them props as far as like building the podcast, but Joe's like, this is my life's work. Like, everything that I've done just in life in general put me in the position to be building a network and having a podcast. Like, I spend nights thinking about how to do this and how I got to take care of these people's families, make sure they're straight, make sure that y'all straight, signing deals to make sure everybody keeps their likeness and keeps their ownership. And that's just what he has to worry about. And so he's not wrong. He should have worded it differently. Being an emotional person, I can understand how he said that fuck shit, because that was fuck shit. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he's not wrong. Like, and that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, but from where you're coming from, the same standpoint of their friends, he should know that. Like, they should know that he says wild shit. Like, if you my friend, respect me enough to be like, yo, like, I'm not trying, like, respect me enough to either one, come back to that shit like at a different point when you like, we're both heated right now. Like, let's take a step back because this is like a real conversation. Like, because your friend's bringing up a valid concern at the end of the day, and like, just like you're worried about the people you got to take care of, they're probably also worried about the people they got to take care of. So I feel like having that long friendship, and especially for 15 years, just be able to stop in the moment and be like, yo, like, let me chill out. Like, you never had a fight with your nigga and been like, this is getting like a little bit like.
I mean, think about a relationship with a girl. and you might say like some shit that you don't mean in the
that's
moment.
Different.
No, it's really not.
No, that's different.
Because she's talking out of. She might be saying like, "You're not doing woo woo woo." She's saying stuff that's like, that ain't true. Y'all, everybody's speaking off emotion. It's a communication error, and so if you actually have tenure with whoever that person is, that's why I brought up the whole father thing. It's different from who's it coming from, but the actual foundation of it is the same as far as like, that's fucked up. I know you're emotional because I'm emotional too. We're both emotional. We might jar at it now, but if we're really homies, like we'll address this when the emotions are light. And I'm not gonna just hold you to the one fucked up thing that you said. I've said fucked up stuff to people and had to go back like, I was kind of just speaking out of tongue. I was emotional. I ain't mean that. But in the heat of the moment, like, if you're getting emotions off, like, that's just what you're doing. It's not a right or a wrong. It's just is.
I guess, bro. I don't know. I just feel like there's definitely a difference between, like, even having an emotional discussion. There's definitely a difference between how I, like, have emotional discussion with, like a girl and then, like, my brother. They're two very different types of arguments. Even when I could be equally upset, like equal level of upset. There's just I'm less likely to like flash out at my brother than I am like a female. Shit like that makes it more complicated. I feel like
if you well for me who's had long-term relationships.
Oh, that's my bad.
If you no, I'm just saying like if you've been in a long-term relationship, whether that's a friendship or like a romantic relationship, you're gonna butt heads with whoever that person is, and you're gonna say shit that's just like out of character for you. Or if it is in character, you're just not gonna necessarily mean it, but you're saying it in the heat of the moment. And I feel like both sides should have the knowledge to recognize when there's just emotions coming out and not much logic or not much proper communication. And that's not necessarily to side with Joe or side with the other two people, but it was more so just speaking like, the fact is you have a platform. I'm giving you a platform and you're very well taken care of. Y'all are coming at me because you thinking I'm supposed to be doing this stuff in business. I don't want to conduct my business like that. I feel like at that point, that's where it should have broken off. They made the decision to stick around and things got worse and worse and worse and they had a major fallout to where it's like, what happened with me in my last job. I saw something that I didn't necessarily align with and I removed myself. I wasn't going to stay around knowing that I was going to bitch the whole time. Because I would have. I would have bitched the whole time. I know I would have.
Sure.
So I pivoted. I feel like they didn't pivot. Both sides. Both sides handled it wrong.
And I mean, I can also empathize with Joe, which like I feel like when you're taking care of all this and when you're taking care of all this and you feel like people who are supposed to have your back are questioning you, it's kind of just like out of left field. It's like
when like you're niggas is getting money.
Like not to take entire credit, but like a low key chill out because I'm the reason you on in the first place. But
and he could have said some shit like, at least he did, because I could see him saying some shit like that.
Like, you coming at me sideways, but like, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. So let's
see
get
them
that.
J's you got on, OG.
Right.
Them kind of nice. Like,
let's get that out of the way. But I don't know, man. Like
it's a slippery
slope. It's wrong on both sides.
It's wrong on both sides.
And I mean, it's always difficult when you mix friends and businesses like that. But I feel like you just, at the end of the day, you got it. And I also feel like it wasn't just that shit he said. Mm-hmm. Like, they had, because like, even regardless if he flashed out in the moment, I feel like, and even if you wanted to come to blows, I still feel like if they had a 15-year friendship, there was probably another conversation about it, but it probably had a similar energy. And like, you can't, at some point the issue has to resolve. You can't just get emotional about it every time the topic is brought up. Regardless,
Maul didn't speak to Joe. This is nasty. I kind of want to break this away from them, but fuck it, I'm with the drama right now.
That's crazy.
Joe reached back out to Maul to have like a sit-down meeting, and Joe actually went to therapy with the other co-host, Rory. Like, he put them in therapy to kind of like work out what they've been going through, which is crazy because like I got a lot of respect for that. Like, it wasn't no like stunt, like there was no content from that. It was just like man to man, like let's work this shit out. And he tried to do a similar thing with Maul, the dude he no longer, but he wasn't answering his calls. It wasn't meeting and
shit
like that.
If that's the case, then I feel like they had shit before.
They would have to have shit before. Or he just had bottled emotions that he just wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there was something that he's dealing with. There's something that he didn't like about Joe that had to have happened before. Because I feel like, especially a 15-year friendship, like, I don't have any 15. I don't have any 15. I don't have any 15-year friends at this point. Like, that aren't like cousins, like black people cousins. So
yeah, type shit.
Like, to just throw all that shit down the drain, there had to be something.
There would have to.
Off of one conversation, there had to be something. Like, he was either building up resentment or some shit. Not like speaking to that man's like.
Yeah, right. Of course.
That was definitely not. That was the straw that broke the camel's back type shit. That was not a singular incident. Just did all that. Especially if the other co-host was willing to like talk it out and shit. Like, you holding on to something, bro. Like, that's.
Y'all hear that train? No matter.
But
yeah, there would have had to been something else building up because Maul kept referencing the "it's not your business" thing when they were having like the podcast to kind of explain what was happening, and Joe kept saying like, "I ain't mean like that." Like,
yeah.
Am I wrong? No. But did it come out wrong? Yes. Like Joe was saying, like, why are you so stuck up on that? But as a viewer, I was like, there had to have been. Whether he was hating from afar or just feeling like Joe is, because he also said Joe is wearing a Miri hats a lot. So obviously you're pocket watching at that point. Yeah. But him being the boss, like, he's going to have some nice shit. Like, the nigga.
Yeah, and I mean, also, him being the boss. Like, let's not forget that Joe Budden was a part of Slaughterhouse, and they didn't make the most. But, like, I mean, he was a part of a whole rap collective. Like, he had a career before this.
It has a huge single still with Pump It Up. That shit.
He
never will die.
He did shit before the podcast and before he brought you on the podcast.
Love and hip hop,
like
TV shows and shit.
This nigga had a bag for a minute. And he's just been growing that bag. So like for you to be pocket watching when you're part of one of this nigga's multiple ventures, kind of like that's kind of weird, bro.
That's where it's like I don't want to necessarily put words in his mouth or make it seem like he was appearing away, but as a viewer, Maul looked kind of like he was looking at his friend in a, like you said, a resentful way. Don't know if that's true or not, but that's just how it appeared, and I didn't really fuck with that because, like, if I have a problem with you, I'll address it, and they never addressed anything. They just let everything boil up. But, I mean, it's just, everybody has communication errors. Like, no communication is perfect. You have to fuck up communication to learn how to grow and better communicate. So,
and that is the part of any long-term relationship is communication. Like, if you don't have that channel for communication, it's not gonna work. It don't matter what kind of relationship, romantic, what so have you, doesn't matter. Like if there's not that open line of communication, it's fucked. It's chalk.
No matter how long it might seem good, right? It's gonna blow up at some point.
There's always gonna be some shit that's gonna come up.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, if not, you lying to yourself like that ass, like, and even that you're swallowing shit, and then that's gonna come to a head at some point. So there's no way to really avoid it.
Nah, for sure. But that's not necessarily to speak on podcast. I mean, this podcast is almost old, so it's more so just talking about what I wanted to talk about. It was just like, just the concept of, and it ties in with Frosty and shit, just like friends or people that you work with feeling like they're owed something when they're given an opportunity. Mm-hmm. Where in reality, like, that's the thing that you're given, the opportunity.
The opportunity is what you're being given, yeah.
If you're only here to do the podcast, don't expect you to have a stream of revenue coming in if this is all you're worried about. Like, try to, pivot
into something else.
That word you said earlier, pivot and, do some other things. If you need to remove yourself from this, then remove yourself from that and put your chips somewhere else. But don't expect everything to come to you. But it's entitled, I guess. I don't know.
Might be. I don't know. You convinced me a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm not over here preaching for Joe. I don't know none of them. Nor do I really even want to. I mean, I respect Joe as a businessman personally because he takes a very business focused mindset. But also there's a lot of people in different spaces that have a lot of respect for him, from rappers to podcasters and media people to athletes and shit like that. Like, he has a lot of respect. That means something to me.
Yeah, you don't just get the respect of multiple people with multiple accolades.
Yeah, it's just that just doesn't tie in. So when I see people like shitting on Joe, it's like, but he has like great relationships with people that you idolize. That means something. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I never let friendship get in the way of business because like business is business. Like even what we have with this, like we're friends, but this is business, and you know this is our shit. Yeah. So there's nobody that can come in and ruin what we are giving a lot of our energy towards. Right. Somebody can come in and add something. Yeah, cool. Appreciate that. We're gonna make sure that you're respected and all that shit. But at the end of the day, this is ours. At the end of the day,
you see that? That's the D.
It's our shit. It's not cocky. It's not narcissistic. It's just the truth. And I'm not gonna tell somebody like, "No, bitch, this is." That's not right.
You see this right here? This me. Like that's kind of crazy, but like at the same time, ET's what it is.
That's it. But I don't even know what the last topic we were gonna cover was.
Oh yeah,
what was we talking about? P&B just got fucking shot, y'all. I ain't listened to his music, but you said you listened to his features with X, right?
Yeah, he's on a few songs with X. I know they were close or whatever, but I don't know. I won't speak on that personally. I just heard you say that he got shot, and I saw a little bit on Twitter that like people are hoping that he pulls through in it. But
I'll get backstory real quick. So him and his girlfriend was at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, I think, in LA. And he had came out with an interview with DJ Academics a few days ago or like last week or whatever, saying that there's been multiple robbery attempts on him in LA. So fast forward to today, unfortunately, prayers up to him, and because I know he has a girl and he has a daughter, I believe. So hopefully he pulls through. But the girlfriend posted a picture of them at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, and it was a attempted robbery. Really, what seems like now like an attempted murder. As we're recording this, don't know the status of him. Hopefully, we don't have to come the next time and say that he passed away. I don't wish that for anybody, but sad situation. But what were you about to say?
I mean, yeah, just with rappers in general. Well, one with rappers in general, like it feels like a lot of younger rappers are getting, unfortunately. Not just one. I feel like there's twofolds. One, rappers becoming a lot more violent, which I mean, that's
a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, well, that's a slippery slope, but like at the same time, we are. I understand that people are talking about their life and their experience and shit, but like we're just getting a little bit excessive with it at this point. Like niggas will be shooters and then drop a diss track on your dead homie. And like that's just
have no remorse.
Yeah, and that's just kind of crazy. Like even with the back and forth with the fucking what's them niggas' names, bro? But they did those fucking music videos to like some Taylor Swift tracks and shit in the back.
God, yeah, I don't know who they were, but
bro, yes, I'm like, nigga, you can't be doing shit like that. There's just some lines that I feel like personally you shouldn't be crossing, and just shit like that. One, shit getting more dangerous like that, and two, just people like. You need to understand that regardless, like, money changes people. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't only change the person who gets it, it changes the people around them. And so you just have to be aware of that. You got to take certain precautions when you start moving like this. And yeah, some people will say you changed and shit like that. But like, and I know there's this stigma of like, oh, I'm good in my hood. Like, I can go back any day and shit. Like, nigga, that shit is dumb. Like, be good with your family, nigga. Like that's that shit. Like that, it doesn't make shit. And like definitely like take care of the people who helped you and like they're with you. But at the same time, it don't make sense for you to be in your hood just to say you was there type shit. Yeah. Like that's just putting yourself in danger, putting yourself in a precarious situation because one, it's not like your hood is never gonna change. Niggas can move there, and niggas can know that you're from that hood, from other hoods, and just go there because you be there all the time. So why not? I can hit a lick on this nigga.
People who have that hit a lick mindset could grow up fucking with you. You go out, make money, and now they're looking at you like, well, you're the next lick now. My mindset hasn't changed. They're still in that mentality, institutionalized. You don't have to be in jail to be institutionalized. Yeah. So they see you, you're a lick now. Like,
you know what I mean? Yeah, at the same time, also, like, you got to be aware that, like, you coming around, everybody's not going to be happy for you type of shit. Like, you coming around, some of these people wanted to do the same shit you doing, and they did it. So now they're like, well, fuck this nigga. Why they choose this nigga type shit? Right. Like, hating and shit. Like, it's unfortunate, but like, it's kind of just the mentality of some people. So you gotta keep that in mind. You gotta be aware of that. Like, it's not pussy to have bodyguards, bro. Like, you're protecting it. You get insurance on your car, get insurance on yourself, nigga. Like,
the most important thing is your life.
You are this mainstream of income, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Like, shit, like, and even with like Pop, like posting his fucking B&B address or some shit. Just like, you gotta, and that's another thing too. Posting your location, bro. Like, you do not need to tell niggas where you are at all the time, bro. I don't know who needs to hear this, but like, just
because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody cares. Like, nobody cares until you post, and they might be like, "Oh shoot, he's here," but nobody's like, even me. I'm a huge Kendrick fan, right? Not once was I like, I wonder where Kendrick is right now.
Right. Oh shit, Kendrick went to fucking In-N-Out, bro. That's great.
Like nigga, I don't care.
I don't care.
I'm not gonna lie though. If Kendrick posted at the Publix, shit, I'll catch y'all later. I kind of that my man's up.
Other niggas is going to Publix too.
Exactly, which is why he doesn't do that, because like there's always as much love you're gonna have hate. You have to have the yin with the yang, and this isn't to put it on P&B Rock and his girl, because people were blaming the girl like, why would you post? Like, she's not thinking that.
Yeah, to be clear also, she shouldn't have to worry about posting. That should not be something that she should have to worry about. That's like, number one, niggas should not be lurking on his chick's story trying to hit a lick on this nigga. Let's get that out of the way.
And the post didn't even have him there. Like, it was just a food post. Like, everybody does. Like, posting a picture of the food. Just tag the place.
Yeah, but
it's just sad and it speaks to the social media culture of, you know, gaining clout, and, you know, people see where you are and now they just want to, you know, go where you are. And you're going to have the negative people that are doing that same thing too. It's not just going to be positive people wanting to come take a picture of you. It's going to be the negative shit of people wanting to rob you or unfortunately kill you. And, you know, you hate to say that these people need to live off the grid, but, you know, you have to have protective boundaries, because.
And I mean, it's not even just, I feel like with rappers specifically, there's a thing where it's like, oh, like, I'm good on my own, I got me type of shit. But like, this doesn't just go for rappers. Like, people in the spotlight in general need to be careful, because there are going to be people who hate you, and there are going to be people who love you. And like, unfortunately, some of the situations where you would be able to interact with people you love that love you, you're not going to be able to do, just because it'll also put you in harm's way with people who hate you. Like, that's shitty, but it be like that sometimes. Like, you just gotta, at the end of the day, like we said, like, you gotta invest in yourself. You gotta protect the investment that is you. Like, even if you have multiple streams of income and shit that'll like go over, like, after you, God forbid, pass and shit, like, protect yourself, bro. Like, that has to be a priority of yours.
It has to be a priority.
But I mean, honestly, like, that's part of the reason. I mean, I just don't. That's part of the reason personally. Like, I just don't like niggas knowing where I am, type shit. Like, I'm not hiding from nobody specifically, but like, also, I'm not going to just tell people where I'm at. Like,
and it's just no need.
Yeah, it's no need. Like, and I mean, like, occasionally I'll post some shit like, oh, I went to this concert, but it'll be like a few days after the concert. I'm not gonna post while I'm at the concert. Hey, I'm here. Like, pull up on me. That's another thing. Like, I didn't get, like, when Snapchat was real popular and niggas would do streaks. Niggas just taking pictures of where they at and shit. I'm like, that's no.
I never did streaks. I might have did streaks when Snapchat first came out, but I just don't understand. That's a whole different conversation. I fucking hate streaks. It's like, niggas sending just a snap of just to keep a number. Like, bro, like, no, I don't care.
Bro, you don't want the fucking fire emoji, man?
Niggas posting 1,000. We hit 1,000. Okay, congratulations.
Wow, bro.
But I mean, even then, that's just like this validation seeking culture that people are in, and numbers, and just I don't understand. And it's unfortunate that, you know, we have artists and just people in general that fall victim to clout chasing. And because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of this, like, we see so much of it. I know for a fact that, because I think this, so I know somebody really acts on this. They're at home, like, they see a rapper get shot, they're fucked up in the head, so they want to do that same shit because the person who shot the rapper gets their name plastered all over the news, and they don't get famous, but people talk about them. And these people probably never been talked about, so they go do the most heinous of acts just so somebody says their name.
I mean, yeah, like, unfortunately, like, you'll get shit like, fucking probably, I'm the nigga who off this. Like, literally.
Try to get some credit or something.
Really,
it's like, use a bitch at the end of the day. But they don't care about that, so it's like...
They just want infamy. I mean, it's just similar to the fucking school shooting shit. But...
That's a fact. Man.
Being infamous in general is just like...
If we had a Patreon in the future, I would love to cover that topic.
That's a topic.
That's a topic. There's so much shit that can come from that.
But yeah, I think this is probably good here. But I mean, to end off on that is that social media, at the end of the day, I feel like one is a tool that should be used to connect people and should augment your real life. I feel like if you're more not stressed but more pressed about your online presence and shit like that, and that's more valuable to you, you should probably be doing more shit in real life. You should probably be engaging with real people more often. Because you see how, like, fucking you'll meet somebody who's like their personality is Twitter, but you meet them like on their ones and they don't know how to. They have no social skills and they just don't. That's the weird dichotomy behind people that you see online that are so like, quote unquote, talkative and expressive, and you meet them in person and they got the mummy face like this, like, oh, so you're. I feel like at some point, and we'll get off of this, but I feel like that's at some point it's going to have to be classified as a mental health issue, like bipolarism in a sense, where you feel like your online persona is a piece of you and you have a different persona in real life. Like, I feel like that's real because I know a lot of people like that. I mean, honestly, I just feel like that's a matter of not being well socialized. It's like because you are that. I feel like you are that same person. Like when you're in person, it's just you don't know how to get that off the same way where you can behind the screen. It's a lot easier to write a tweet, press send than like. Which I feel is a mental health issue. I mean, yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't have to be a negative thing per se. I just feel like we can identify it as one because it could be something that could be, addressed and hopefully helped because you aren't who you are online. I don't care how big you are. Like, you are who you are in the physical realm, in this actual real life that we live in. Doesn't matter how many followers you have, how many retweets you get. At some point, you're gonna have to walk outside, look somebody in the eye, and have a conversation. Yeah, it's just a fact.
I mean, I don't know. I just with shit like that, with mental health specifically, I just am very hesitant to like add new shit on and new diagnoses because I feel like some people hide behind those, and that sometimes it can cause more harm than good. I feel like I can point to this shit and just be like, "Oh, I have this, so you should just let me do what the fuck I want." Like,
I feel like people should always identify mental health, not use it as a crutch, nor use it as, like you said, something to hide behind. Because at the end of the day, like, if that's how you feel, I'll never question somebody's mental health. Yeah. But I'm like the type of person to try to at least help, or, if I'm not the person to help it, like, I identify that and I respect that, but I want you to act on it. Don't just use it because it's a trendy, hot topic thing to say.
Yeah, I definitely think that like diagnosing things and stuff like that is great, and to help people find ways to deal with it and like workarounds and shit like that. That is all well and good, but I'm just very hesitant with things where people will just take the diagnosis and now this is me, and so everybody, not like be nice to me, but everybody treat me this exact way and I'm not doing anything to work on it. Like at the end of the day, like when you become diagnosed, and I mean this goes for myself as well. Like when you do realize, like, realizing that you have the thing is just the first step. It's like, okay, I'm not crazy. This makes sense. Now I can start doing these things to like make shit run smoother. Mm-hmm. Which also tying it right back into the beginning is fucking work ethic. You gotta grind in everything, in all aspects of life, and that's not tire yourself out, not to the bone, but like you gotta work this shit. You gotta improve. You gotta want to improve. If you're not striving to improve personally, I can't fuck with you. That's just the way it is. Like,
and if it's not hard, if whatever you're working for, whether it be mental health or esports, doesn't matter what you're working for. If it's not hard, then you're probably not really putting forth that much work, because nothing in life worthwhile to anybody's life is just easy. Nobody who's made it at all, unless they were just born into billions of wealth.
I don't feel like that's making it though. That's not you made it.
That's not you made it, exactly. And everybody would be like, I mean, this shit wasn't hard. Even if they look like an overnight success, or you've seen them at the bottom and now they're at the top in any way, shape, or form, they're gonna be like, this is hard work. Like, it was nice where I wanted to completely quit like everything, but just gotta keep going.
So if you're watching this, keep fucking going.
Keep going, bro. You got this. Yeah. We got this. We all got this.
Yeah, we all got it. That was
a good
That's the
podcast.
one. Yeah, fuck with this.
Thank y'all for watching, man. This is a good one. If y'all liked it, make sure you drop a like, hit the sub, hit the bell,
sir.
Do all 3.
Bell notification.
Right now.
Write something in the comments. I'm not seeing no comments, bro. Like, what's
what is y'all doing?
Like y'all niggas act like y'all don't know me. Like,
they hating, bro.
That's so weird, bro. Like,
we're gonna end the podcast with that same thing. Like, until somebody leaves a comment, that's gonna be the outro every time.
Right? Like, I know y'all watch. I can see the view, bro. I gotta see the view. I can see how long you watch for. Ain't no way you watching the whole thing and not commenting. Like, that's just weird, bro.
Facts.
Like, and then nigga gonna come. Nigga gonna come to me in my face and act like I don't know he watched it.
Right.
That's crazy, bro.
That's crazy. But hey, we love y'all nonetheless.
No, appreciate the view, whether you decide to comment or not. But you still gotta leave a comment. But like,
at this point, you might as well.
Right.
At this point,
we're giving you all this time. Like, this whole time right now, this ramble right now is for you to leave a comment. So like, I hope you've been typing one up right now.
All right, we'll see y'all in the next one, bro. Peace out.
Yeah, that's it.